Broad Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Hey folks, how are you? I'm learning off the some of the directions I've had from some of the people that are out there that have been on the show or helping the show. Somebody's popping on right there. I appreciate you coming on. Today's going to be kind of a chill day. That's why I kind of faded in black versus being right there, you know, being a high energy show. That kind of sets the tone, I think. Today's also going to be a bit of a shorter day. How do you guys like this lighting? I've been fooling around a little bit more, and as you know, I do that stuff, but it's a little dark. Maybe that's kind of the mood. It's a little darker. I also found out why this was happening. Look at that. I get these big spots. It's one of the screens right in front of me. I got to tilt it down just a touch for the light to come on. And then I have these lights here, which are soft, and you can see the shadows, so a little bit there, which isn't good. Probably should get a light behind me. I got a whole lot of studio stuff to do, but we got time, man. We got time. Today was an exciting discussion for us. Lady by the name of Elisabeth. I've been telling you about her all week, and something popped up, and she had to reschedule from today at this time. And you guys have already known that there's a thing here, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about her subject. But this is hey, welcome to coffee and tea time. That's what this is now going to kind of evolve around. I'm sure a lot of the questions may pop in early on about Elisabeth and releasing the wild side. She's got this really interesting energy. Hey, everybody coming on. I appreciate it. How do you like the new lighting? I think I like this. You know what? This is not going to be a long show. Okay. Yes, I am in Chicago for now. But this is going to be a shorter show because the lady Elisabeth had to make a reschedule. And, you know, you guys have I had people waiting for this show for a little while. So I'm not going to cancel the show, but this is an open mic. This is a talking about AI, talking about let's go back to Elisabeth for a second, because like I said, she has a real interesting energy. Her journey is one that's based in Christ, based in faith, and is to help develop the inside, help build up your inside, your inner power, your inner strength. Backstory to that is she went, like, literally a divorce that took, I think, unless I'm reading this wrong, 10 years to go through the divorce, really bad. And no matter if you're the one leaving or you're the one being left, that's painful no matter what. But I mean, I would imagine a couple of years would be painful enough for everybody, and whatever that happens. But this went on for like a decade. And she's from South Africa. Cool personality, very high energy vibe, based in Christ, and working on your inner strength and how to come back from devastating circumstances to become better from them instead of negatively affected by them. I got a little starlights in my eyes, don't I? It's from these lights are pretty cool. Actually, I should probably turn this one a little bit more because they're offset lights, so they're softer. But then I have some more, and I'm going to add another light back here and try and get that off to the side so I can bring more light in. I can keep the main lights off. Remember, I've been complaining about those. I did some alterations with a black fabric. Anyway, so still a work in progress, and Elisabeth is not going to be able to be here with us today. So again, this is a coffee and tea time, open mic, and let's talk about struggles that you may have, questions that you may have about relationships. I've learned a lot from all these experts. We've done 240 shows now, I think, and different subjects, but a number of them are about mental health and improving your life, and getting ourselves ready to be able to be worthy of going out and collecting the information needed to make the right decisions, to make the great middle class of America all it deserves to be. I see you guys out there. Come on, let's get some questions running across. Let's get some comments going. I'm in a very, if you noticed it when I opened, I am in a very mellow mood. Kind of been a very high energy week, a lot going on, very exciting week. What did Ronaldo call it earlier? Before she went off the grid, life was a roller coaster. She had to get off that roller coaster to kind of, that's what life is. It's, well, you design your life, and I respect the hell out of her because I've wanted to do that, and I've talked about it. My sons and I, farm, big land, open spaces, lots of breeze and air and places to roam. So this show, one of the reasons I'm so happy for it and really excited for it to grow is because I can literally do this from anywhere in the world I want, right? I mean, that's technology. We stream out, we stream on StreamYard. I just need a signal, some electricity, and a little bit of space. I have too much space now, but I just need a little, right? So we are working on, hey, the adventure show. You guys are getting kind of regular, huh? Okay, so this is what I was afraid of. I can tell you though. So Elisabeth isn't here, but I know about relationships. I'm certainly not an expert, or not one of the guests that come on and talk about it. But through these guests, you learn things. You listen and you learn, and you have two ears and one mouth. On this show, it doesn't show that, but in life, you should be listening twice as much as you're talking. Actually, I think it does kind of mirror that, because this is about insights and straight talk. It's not about Rod Duff talking, which you all know I enjoy doing anyway. But as far as the inspiration, it's actually a perfect timing for this question. And, I don't know her exact programs or I know her journey, but she's here to explain those 11 steps, those 11 dimensions. But I can tell you, I know where that comes from. I mean, here's a woman that is in her late 50s now. Beautiful energy, like I said, based in spirituality and energy, and a little bit of sassiness and a little bit of that woman sensuality. But she went through a divorce, a powerful, painful divorce, coming out of South Africa. That's where she's from. It's where she lived. And then now lives in the United States and Canada. But 10 years she went through this battle. And I don't know the details of the battle, and it's not my place to say it unless she does. So, we'll be thin on some of these. All right. Okay, that's the same. Yeah. Let's go back then. I'm going to continue your question here, Mr. Adventure Show. Yeah, something came up. We people pay to be guests on the show, and that's a very consistent, get here 7 minutes early, go through the little bit of stuff we need to go through, make sure the sound and the camera, you can see and hear and all that, and that you're kind of aesthetically set as best as you can. And then a couple of instructions that I give people, because we do things a little different. We're not an interview. We don't have a staged process. So we like to roll around a little bit and, making sure they know the familiarity of the show. But my guest, Elisabeth, Princeton, had an emergency, called it off like in the last a couple of days. And actually, I didn't see that until yesterday when I sent her a little note looking forward to Friday. And she said, "Hey, did you get my note? I needed to reschedule this." And it's business or personal. I don't know what it is. Maybe she wants to go to a party. I have no idea. But anyway, she wasn't able to make it. She is rescheduling. So we're going to do that. But what I said earlier, people pay to be guests on the show. And every once in a while, I reach out and pick somebody that has a really interesting story or something that caught my attention. And it's worth the cost, because all we're doing is trying to cover some costs, because you see all the advertising, the video clips, the shorts and stuff we send out to make sure that everybody is aware of this topic and coming on this day and at that time. The people who have a little tiny bit of skin in the game, at least, are more likely to show up. You've heard that term, that description. But people who don't have a much different percentage of how much they really care to show up. All right, so where she is, she's in Oregon, I'm guessing somewhere. That's where she lives, out on the West Coast. I hope that's about as good as I can get there, brother. But still, again, ask questions about it. Ask questions about the subject, and I'd love to support and bring that dialed in. I'd love to be on your guys' show, I think, someday. I haven't actually looked it up yet, but I like being a guest too. I've only done it a couple times. First I was going to start out as a guest, and then I started rethinking that a little bit, because all the demons and the life and the trauma and the stuff, you're talking about yourself now, going back to the days early on when I made a pivot and went from being in the acting, modeling, on that path. I was in Fiddler on the Roof and a couple other ones, and started my vocal coaching lesson, acting lessons, had my headshots. I was doing photo commercials for like different kind of clothing stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It's a weird industry, very coolly dear weird industry. I love working with creatives. The rest of the world is basically steel. It's black and white. That world just lives in the gray. Just freaking lives in the gray. It's a different personality, and how we talk about everybody has a different life. Everybody in this world literally lives in a different part of the world, in their world, because when you go through life, you see the world through your eyes. And when you see that through your eyes, your brain is developing what this world is. How we can literally envision, if there's things that are missing, it'll actually adjust that to make that a whole thing. I mean, our body becomes, or our mind body becomes the creator of our world. So we're all living in different worlds, and they're slightly different, but basically, outside of the Hollywood, no, I shouldn't say Hollywood. I should say creatives. And somebody said it best the other day. You've got to bring creatives into first of all, everybody is creative. Just depends on where they want to go and how that creativity comes out. Second of all, creatives are poets, writers, authors, comedians, stage actors, film, camera, all that stuff. That's all creative, whether you're on one side of it or the other. It's that personality is grouped into the word creatives now. I actually only started hearing that a little bit ago, but I made an early on change over into the safer route, because families and all that started up, and acting is not a job, supposedly, right? Well, it's awesome is what it is. Like they always say, find something you love and make it your job. Make it the way you make your living. You'll be the most successful person in the world. But when you look at life through your eyes and your lens, it's standing right next to you is somebody living in a completely different world. It's it's like a veil right between us all, because we're looking at this, we're interpreting what that is, and then that's what our reality is. Now that's going to be a little different than the person who's having that same life happen, and then interpret it through their life, their eyes, their past, their brain, and it's different. Same exact thing, but if 10 people were looking at it, there'd be a difference in that moment. Now, just imagine, we're talking about a moment. Your whole life's like that. It's, you're up, you're asleep, whatever. Your life is designed by you. And that's why so many of these stories and the different angles that we come at them from are so important. I got my mic in there. Okay. I don't know why I like having my mic in there. It's a little bit of a change. It's nice. It's theatrical. It is what it is. So that's kind of why we emphasize so much for the middle class this place, because happiness begins within. So we can change all this stuff, and we're in the process. We're getting back the narrative. We're hopefully going back to that utopia that we talk about, headed back towards that. And we need to put in the right leaders to do that. All that story we talk about. But then it comes back to, how are you really going to be happy? Because we've been doing, as human species, the wrong thing for a long time. And you know what they say, it takes 10,000 repetitions to make a habit, right? It takes 2 weeks of doing that habit every day. In baseball, it takes 10,000 swings to get the right swing. The right swings, it's not like you just swing a bat, you practice 10,000 perfect hits. You could tell there was a little baseball in my family back, and football and wrestling and a lot of music. And producer Barbie, same. By the way, you all know she had her second. She didn't have it, but she now has her second grandbaby, and so she's living in a roller coaster right now. And so we're all excited for her. A bunch of people were jumping on yesterday and giving her big congratulations, and it's an exciting time and all that. Babies coming into the world are very exciting. There's only one more thing that's a little more exciting than that, maybe even a lot more exciting than babies coming into the world. When grandbabies come into the world, that's the most exciting thing. And growing up, I would have never thought that, but started working on myself, right? I started fixing. That sounds really grandiose and all that, but for reasons outside of my control and having to do it, I ended up fixing a lot of stuff about myself, thanks to producer Barbie and others. Thanks for my new friend Ronalda, and she still speaks to me, even though for the first half of our relationship, said her name wrong. And finally she goes, "Hey, look it, Rod, this is how you say it." I said, "Okay." Damn. And then I screwed up for a little bit longer, because then I got nervous about it. And now, Ronaldo. You're impressed by that. I know you are. Anyway, all right. So that's where our guest is today. I kind of went off that subject, but if you want to know more, I don't know much more, but ask the question. I'm here for that. How you doing, Ronaldo? Love the live things happens. Love the live things happens. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, so Adam Wayne. We're trying to wonder if that's a Batman fan that mixed a couple names together. It's a cool name. How can we begin to heal when we feel completely broken? All right, now that's a question I could frickin' ask. Adam can ask, and I can answer, or I can at least put my insights into it. How do you guys like the lighting, by the way? As you can tell, I changed it. The upper lights are off, and I've moved some other lights around, so they're going to do it. It's a little darker, but I hit the fade on the camera. Brighten that up so I'm hoping to offset some things. And but is it too dark or is it okay? I kind of like it, but I'm not sure. All right. So when you feel you're completely broken, I've been there. I've been there a couple of times, actually. I'm on the road I am now because of your question, not because of your question, but because of the answer I'm going to give to your question, or the input I'm going to give to the insights I'm going to give into your answer. I think I covered all the words there, right? Didn't I? So let's go through my story here real quick. And I'm not selling any books or anything, so this is just how it all freaking went down. So, the story about I grew up Rod J.R. Duff, and I was always kind of proud of that. It started when I started into the industry, which I built up for my career for 30 some years, which ended, that side of that ended in a winding down $6-7 million a year. But we just getting into that $5 million a year revenue, which is the next level. That's kind of how, you get to $1 million. There's things you do differently than if you're a, $200,000 a year company, and basically you're just self-filling. And then, you get into the million, it's kind of the same thing, but a little bit more tax stuff, a little bit more intrinsities. I didn't say that right. Intrinsities. Anyway, a little bit more complexity. Then the next level is 5 million. And that's where it really starts to turn from a growing company into an established company that needs operations, needs, all sorts of different, much more complex accounting systems. And now you've got to have, more than likely, unless you're a software company or something, my company, Building Machines, now we've got 27 people plus outside vendors, W9 people that come in to do certain things. And then we have contractors that are supplying certain things. And then, of course, vendors with all the materials coming in and out. We are carrying millions of dollars of inventory, steel and bolts and all that stuff. So that, and then we're growing. And the next one is kind of like that 12 million. So we're looking at that. And, all of a sudden I'm going, what the fuck am I doing? Really? I mean, seriously. I'm just beating my head. And the only fun I had, I wanted to keep growing the business because I enjoyed growing the business. I talked about personalities early on. This is a steel, black and white world full of engineers and mechanics and salespeople and accounting people and office managers and it's that all going on. And I would just love to just sit in my office and market it, because that was fun. I mean, that was a little bit of what this is all day long. I've been doing videos, talking to people, sending out digital marketing programs, creating automations. I've been doing that since 2014 in the business side, and always kind of just fighting this urge to do more marketing than actually managing of the business. I hated that part. Well, I didn't hate it, but it was just different. You're dealing with personalities that you're constantly trying to get people. You're babysitting a lot, first of all, and you're constantly trying to get people to move at your vision. Here, this is the vision. Barbie and Ronaldo and I and Luca, an outside, a support on the team. It's very obvious and easy to see that the vision is there and the support for the vision is there. So now when you have people following you, and literally at that point, you're kind of pushing you into the vision and bringing the vision forward, moving it forward, where it's just me. I probably could have been better at a lot of things. I could do a lot of better things here, but hey, man, you guys are really diving in here. I do want to make this short today. I said that off the bat, but I'm already halfway to an hour, and I've only hit not even 5 or 6 questions. So I'm here, man. I'm here with you guys. This is an open talk. This is all about all about us and building this community. So Adam, I literally built that company up, and then after a little while, I started realizing that fact that there's certain things I enjoy about what I'm doing, and many others I didn't. But it's the only way to make a living. I'm locked. I'm boxed. I have to live here in the Midwest because it's a landlocked. I'm building to a certain clientele, and some of the equipment we've built is like 25,000 pounds. That's like 12 and a half tons. Kind of thing. Well, no, not 12 and a half. 11 and 3/4 tons of weight. Big ass, cool ass equipment. Some of it was tiny, some, different stuff. So we've made a lot of adapters, and it was all about steel and delivery and pricing and efficiency. I like that stuff. I definitely like that stuff, but I don't love this. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about the messages. We built the company. The vision was supported, but what was always really exciting was to build the brand. That whole company realistically was built on building the brand, doing the things I'm doing now, but I'm not building the brand. I'm doing the things that I've been doing, experienced about, loved about, enjoyed about. And when I started really realizing that, life became even a little bit more of a struggle. Key period of my life, and the lives of those around me, and all this time I'm struggling and I'm battling and I'm doing this struggle and fighting for this thing that I'm only doing because I built it up over 30 years. And now what the fuck do I do? WTF? What do I do? So then there was some complication. We had some embezzlement. We had some other things. And so now every day is just a struggle to keep this thing moving, not knowing what else. My back's up against the wall, and what else do I do? So I live like that. All my life, it was a little unsettling because probably that's in the background. Why did I give up the theater thing? But I'll get back to that, because if I would have done it back then, I'd probably be too immature to really, because this is a different world over here. I probably wouldn't have done, I wouldn't be as comfortable doing it then as I am now. So, and all those experiences are going into this now. So, okay, there's something there. Haven't unpacked it, but it's pretty easy to see what the unpacking is going to reveal. So, you know, that then comes to a point. Let's go. So I've got JR. I'm behind a mask. Started that back early on, and I could hide behind that because I didn't grow up very confident. That's why I really didn't go down that path into the theater, because they're judging you. They're looking at, they're looking at you and judging you, and because you're their product potentially. If you're hired, they're your product. You're the product that they're selling. You're selling that, whatever it is, that image, through your ability to pass that message on. So, and I had a pretty tough childhood at times, pretty tough. So all of that, tragedy and everything. I'm going to take you off the screen here, and we'll get your point here. So people, me, get broken. May of last year, I completely broke. I had a mental break. I was at a show I just was talking to somebody from Miami, that another podcaster that wants to do some stuff, but they live in Miami, I think. And I said, I love that area. So we're in Orange County, Florida, which is, if you know the area, it's much further north than Miami is. That's about an hour and a half drive, Orlando. So we were there, and it's a 5-day show. Plus you go in early to kind of do things and get settled in, because Monday morning the show starts, and you want to kind of get your feeling and all that. So went in. This was May 5th. We got in Cinco de Mayo. I had a nice little dinner, chilled out, a little Mexican food. It was so good. And then kind of did our thing and whatever. The next day at I don't know. No, the next day was okay. The 6th was okay. That was fine. We just walked the show. We started doing some investigation. We had, where are the booths that we are going to be talking to this equipment about with people. That's the concept, right? So we did all that, talked to some people that wanted to meet with us about additional contracts and stuff. So, all in all, a good day. That night, didn't get any sleep. It was just like everything something was going on. And something felt uneasy, but I've been living this way for all my life. And, JR the Mask is the guy that can handle stuff. I'm very well known for compartmentalizing things, because because the end result has to get done. We have to push through it. We got to get in there. So this disaster happens. I compartmentalize. I stuff it in a box. This thing happens. I stuff it in a box. You're not ignoring it. You're just not letting it take you down. And that's compartmentalizing. Unfortunately, I gained a reputation of being able to do that with a lot of shit that's going on in my life, or just life in general. So that next day, I didn't sleep at all. And then I just fucking lost it. All the boxes blew up. The second day of the show is coming up. I'm not sleeping. All of a sudden, I'm paranoid. I'm scared. I'm sweating constantly. I can't tell what people are looking at. I can't be comfortable walking by somebody because I feel something's going on. All of a sudden, that whole week I stayed. God, I wanted to leave. Get the hell out of there. I was scared. I mean, literally scared. It'd take me sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning for the show. I had to change my shirt 2 or 3 times. And then I had to pick out shirts that could kind of hide sweat, because I was just, and then I'd have to go to a booth with my colleagues in that equipment building process and spend that couple of hours there. And then I go work with the booth over there that has that process going on. And normally it's just like a joy. It's like, hey guys, how you doing? You know, and we're away from the office, so to speak, and dinners at night, jumping in the hotel pool, and it's Miami. I mean, it's Orlando, Disneyland's right over there. You know, the whole walk thing, all in, you know, that's booming. And then there's the beach. Then you go across the other way, start heading west, and you do that for a few hours. Boom, there's the other beach. It's just Florida, man. It is cool. And there's lakes and water in between. And then there's the Everglades down by Miami. It's an interesting state, really. But I was there, and then I made it through the week, but I'm really sure a lot of concerned faces on people, because what the hell's going on with JR? Had to be not in front of me. And although I was paranoid if that was what was also going on, which makes it even worse. So now I'm living in this like a tornado storm freak out. And finally Friday comes. Get through Friday. Everything's packed. I'm just, man, I just don't want to see anybody else, you know, from after the show. I just want to get on the plane, get home, curl up in my bed, say, you know, love my dogs, actually pick them up from the doggy daycare, boarding, and get my ass home. Actually, I don't think I picked them up that night. No, I wanted to, because I didn't want to go back out. I was forcing myself, and then curl up in a bed and just recover from this. That's all I was thinking. Well, son of a bitch, if it got worse and worse and worse and worse. What do they call it when you're in war and the bombs? That's where it all started. You know, when you're affected in that way. I will get to more questions here in a second, guys. But this is, as you know, this question here that my buddy Adam is bringing on is like the core of everything. So it kept getting worse. There, literally, when I got back on the weekend so I could pull this off, I didn't get out of bed from the time I got home until, well, ... Because Monday rolled around, I could just be sick. I could not feel good and not going to the office today. Fine. But then, you know, then there's these factories. Shoot, I should have taken that. Then there's different factories that we have meetings with that are coming up through the next couple of weeks, and with customers. And these are set, and these are the most important times, because you're coming off of a national show, and there's all these people that are looking at that equipment and wanting you to come in and give them the specifics about it. I was canceling meeting after meeting, and literally with some of the people that I was in the booths with. So now all of a sudden, you know, now it's just getting worse. It's piling on. All my boxes are scattered all over the floor wherever I walk, because it's just all blown up. And I have no idea if I'm ever going to be able to function again in my life. That was last year. I was 62. I just turned 63 in June 3rd. I'm a happy Gemini. So that point was the completely broken, and the worst one I've ever had. It's not the first time, but it's different, right? This was completely broken. So I had to, if producer Barbie wasn't in my life at that time, I wouldn't be here. Multiple times. And then, so see, that was this year. So so let me give you a little bit more backstory to what led to that. So that was June. Memorial Day 3 years ago now, Memorial Day just happened, right? So 3 years ago on Memorial Day, I always took a ride in honor of my father who's passed, a Marine. And I just take off and drive. And I'd never driven west yet because I was always afraid I'd never stop and just keep going back home, Then the accident happened. And I talked to you about many things started to pile up in this business and why it really was time to really wind it down. It was destroying me. I had an accident. I broke every bone in the side of my body. I split my head open. I still have a little road rash. I mean, yeah, see it right there. A little tiny bit there, tiny bit here. I don't know. On my kneecaps, I got a little bit here and there. I was only wearing shorts and a tank top and tennis shoes. Not really but I'm not but somebody came flying across interchanging into Iowa off of 88 onto 80. And all I remember is the color blue and then nothing for that point until I was sliding on the pavement and I stopped. And that was okay. Then I remember some stuff and thank God, right behind me was a first responder. Right behind him was a doctor. Both he and her were unbelievable. They had an ambulance. I was in the middle of nowhere. Tri-Cities, Quad Cities is still a little bit more that way to me. DeKalb was way the hell back there. And so, that interchange is country, in the country. But man, they had somebody there immediately. And as soon as I stopped, I remember, a big scream, of course, it was just like, and I remember, I'll tell you about the bike in a little bit. But yeah, you know what? This is going to go past an hour. Fuck it. So, boom. I remember the color blue. Don't know why or what else happened. But as soon as I stopped, all of a sudden, like consciousness came back. You know how when you have an accident and stuff, your mind doesn't remember it? I think it's a protection thing, probably. Our minds are amazing. But I started screaming, and then I felt this hand right here, which you had to really choose at that point because I was like not scabbed. I was fortunate. You know how a first degree burn, second degree, third degree. It's the layers of skin, right? That's what the description is. And when you have a motorcycle, especially an accident, but especially a motorcycle accident, there's a difference between cars and motorcycles with just air. So somehow, because I was literally 50 feet or more, I know, that's what I was told, from my bike. So in other words, I was ejected out into the freeway, off the on-ramp, into the freeway, rolling down the freeway. And then I started, I think I rolled literally is what probably kind of saved me because I had a hit here, a hit here. So I must have bumped a couple times on my elbow. I think I hit something right in there, right? You see that? And then knocked a tooth out. And then had this watch, still works. The tennis shoes I had on only had a little scuff on them, so I must have just smacked my toe in one of those flips. And then I stopped and skid for a bit. I skid on pavement and stopped with my legs in the gravel. So I was kind of on the edge there. And I remember that because I remember my feet in the gravel. And as soon as I started screaming, this first responder grabbed my arm and said, "You're going to be okay. We're here." So, yeah, that's a hold on. that was the first incident. I spent the next 3.5 months in the hospital in Iowa. Producer Barbie had 3.5 hour drive just to get to me to visit. Bring me something. My birthday was coming up. I mean, I was in there on my birthday. So what is that? May? Is that Memorial Day? May or March? No, it's got to be May, right? I don't know. Okay. Then there on my birthday, I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to get dressed because, I mean, I have a scar from under the armpit here. It looks like a shark bite, right? And it goes all the way down into the middle of my back and onto my hip. So they obviously laid that skin back. And then I had all these plugs in me and drain ports, and I could even show you some of those, but I'm not going to. So all that was going on. Then I had to learn how to, I couldn't take, it took me weeks, not weeks, days. Well, right away the next day I sat on the edge of my bed and I stood up. That was fucking, that was horrible. Going to the bathroom was horrible. I had to get a walker. I had to get to a walker, and then I had to get to the thing, and then I had to get back on the walker and then to the bed. My God, that was the most difficult 50 feet I've ever done in my life. Not even 50 feet, 20 feet. That was horrible. Getting in and out of bed was horrible. Imagine all your bones are broken, your ribs especially. You're using that diaphragm, that stomach, that core, when you don't realize it, but when you get out of bed, you lean and roll, and you move. All that stuff's cut up and full of fluid and broken to bits. I literally have all my ribs are in 3, 4, 5, 8 pieces. So when you see, I was going to show that. I have it somewhere, so I'm going to bring it on show at one time. But you literally have entire ribs that you can't really see the bone. You only see the steel clamps that are holding them together. So then that happened. A year later, not to the day, but right there, I had a stroke. And again, I remember that. Fortunately, somebody was walking by and I caught their attention because I was like talking weird. I don't know what I was saying, obviously, but they told the doctors this. And the ambulance, I guess. And then I sat down, and then I just went boom, and I just boom, did a head dive right there. I cut my forehead, and I think I got a bloody nose from that too. I think something like that. Didn't lose the tooth again though. And then I don't remember anything until 11:30 the next morning, when I talked to Barbara, producer Barbie, and I said, "How long have I been in here?" And she told me it had been about a day and a half, or a day or something like that. Day and a half. Yeah, it was a day and a half. And then because I was in surgery, and then I was, in bed, and then not surgery, recovery, whatever they did to clear the stroke out. And, then I was tested for the next year to make sure everything wasn't going to pop another one out or whatever. But I was talking to Barbie. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I asked her how long I've been there. And then I said, "Man, I haven't talked to anybody. How's everybody?" She goes, "Well, you and I have talked a couple of times, and your son Austin called, and you guys talked, and Brandon called, and, I'm like, I had no idea I had talked to any of those people. Now, then it started to get a little bit better. And I'm fortunate. I literally had a stroke. I know people, my recovery was actually pretty quick. I didn't really lose a lot. Whatever. So this is the result of that a year later. And then at that point, while I was in the hospital, let's go back a year. When I was in the hospital, I forgot to bring this up. We were driving towards 12, right? We're driving towards 12 million a year. And so we've got to be doing $1 million and change every month, a couple million a quarter. And we were doing that. Some quarters were a big number and some quarters were a little bit less, but we're averaging that number needed to get there. Then I have this crash. Weekend's over, people are concerned, everything's happening. 3 months go by, really almost 4 months go by. Each of those months, none of them ever went over $300,000. And we had one for like $12,000. And then I had to come back and recover and pick that back up, because now we had an embezzlement, big money to a small little company. And then we had fucking nobody doing anything in the office, at least the sales, nobody producing revenue. That's a failure on my part. That's not their fault, because I didn't have the right people. I didn't have the people that believed in the vision. I didn't have that connection, obviously. So we're talking about now, after 3 months, we're like, what would that be? We're like almost $4 million behind. And we have these people are paid. We had payroll. Our payroll was like at its top was $66,000 a payroll, 70,000 almost a payroll. So it wasn't like, okay, they didn't sell anything. Now it's like, holy fuck, what are we going to do? So on and on and on, then the stroke, and then the breakdown. So that's what led up to that, completely broken down. For your answer, that lead in, I hope gives you a good picture, Adam. For your answers, I had somebody that helped me through. And then when I say that, literally, she would buy certain oils. Ronaldo helped me with that a little bit ago. The purple flower, the fragrance that calms your body. She would bring sea salts over so that I could take a bath and add salts to it when I was taking a bath. And I mean, my God, it was crazy, because for weeks I couldn't get out of bed. For months, a month-ish, I could get out of the house, but I was scared when I was outside of the house. When I was around people, I was nervous, scared, panicked-ish. So I had somebody help along. Then I got professional help, which was good. But then I also got medicine, which was also good. And then it kind of, but the biggest thing is I had a guide. I had somebody, because she assured me I would get better. That was my biggest fear. Am I ever going to be healthy again? Is this it? Am I, I'm 62 years old, and am I going to be, what's my life going to look like now? It's not like I'm 20 and I can recover. You got a lot of time. Not that I don't have a lot of time, but I built all this stuff up, and now it's 62 and I have nothing. Obviously, I have a company full of people that don't give a crap about what we're doing. And that's on me. I mean, this is all, and then, then things started to start to come back together. I started, the medicine helped along, and it was really very needed in the beginning, because there was panic medicine in there, and, different things that kind of let you get through things, because I had to use that to actually go out and meet people. And that was always something that was the highlight of my day. I hated being in the office. Now I don't want to be outside of it, right? So she helped me through that, and people in my life helped me through it. If you've ever seen there's a social media, I think I don't know if it's all on all of it, but this is Men's Mental Health Month. I don't know if you guys know that, because it's also like a Gay Pride Month now all of a sudden as well. And that's kind of overshadowing men's mental health. It's a bummer, but it is. but that's why we're here. So that time was evolving because I had professional and personal coach help to get me through it. And I did. And then I started writing my book in that same time in May when I got back, because that's a healing thing for me. And then so that's how I began. And then Barbie, and then the professional help. And then all of a sudden the confidence that, okay, maybe I am feeling a little better. I had some then I'd have bad days and good days. I still every once in a while have a rough day. A couple of days ago, I had a bad day. And so I called producer Barbie and I said, I'm having a bad day. That's what you need to have to help down your journey. And you have to be you to be able to do it. All right, Adam, how's that for a 40-minute answer? What role does spirituality play in the healing process? Oh, great question. Because honestly, all this stuff I went through, I believe is because, well, I know I talk to God all the time. I don't pray. I don't get down. I have for a long time gotten on my knees, because that was what you're supposed to do. Put my, hands on the side of the bed and prayed. Now I just talk to God all the time. And sometimes I know he doesn't take me serious, but we got a good thing here. And I'm reflecting back, you realize I went through all these things because I was going against the mission that God had for me. And I knew it, but I didn't listen to it. I pushed it away. One of the first people that when I had my accident was producer Barbie. And she actually called my church, and they called her, and they communicated as far as some prayers. But there's reasons I'm still here, and it's because God is saying, God damn it. Wait, I know God wouldn't say that. I actually said, right, using his name in vain. I'm not a perfect Christian. I am a believer in God and the spirituality of the earth and all that tie that comes together. That's a show we can definitely we have and do dedicate entire shows to. Spirituality is huge part. Hey, how are you doing, sir? Oh, thank you. Hey, how are you doing, sir? You good? I am. These days, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you asking that. That's actually very cool. That's a cool question. It's Sean, thank you. I'm doing very well. Today's a chill day. Usually you see me kind of just popping off. But when I started writing my book, and that's a healing process for me, I write poetry. And that's why I'm doing this now. That recovery, once I finally got the message, realized from that this is the direction I've got to go. And so I started winding the company down. And a couple months ago, went full-time here with the last contracts being fulfilled and then canceled for future. And I am now in the happiest I have ever. Well, right now I'm the most chill and relaxed because I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, literally. Well, I mean, the kids being born, my boys and I grew up together, had a lot of fun. Then I went through a dark period, and now I'm back with my grandkids and all that stuff. I mean, my boys and I talk all the time. Oh, Barbie, you're on here. Awesome. Oh, you heard me then. So yeah, Sean, I'm doing really good. Better than I ever have. Okay. We're going to do okay. BSR, you said you were going to change your name to producer Barbie. Come on. There it is. Okay, that's the one right there. And look at that sassy little look. Both her and Ronaldo both are just beautiful women. Healing is a journey and not a destination. When you are broken, give yourself the permission to feel. This is the thing I had for months, that if I didn't, to answer Adam's back to Adam's remark is that's it right there. You need to give yourself permission to heal and to feel, actually, I guess, but also to heal. And you're so right, producer, because that was the thing that remember I said, am I always going to feel this way the rest of my life? And she promised me I would get better. And literally, while I was walking down the hall over there in the accounting room, we were on the phone, and she made me that promise. You're going to get better. And I was kind of shocked by that, honestly. I've never been here. And now I'm an actual person. Now I'm kind of an authentic person. I'm getting there. But now we're over an hour. Damn. So it's okay to feel broken. Love it. And tomorrow is a new day. That's the message I lived on. That message in different versions every day. And especially when I needed her. And there were times, that were scary. And there's times when I would come in, when I first started actually doing the show, there were times that I would come in and started sitting in literally went from where I live out to the car with the dogs, got in the car, got upstairs. Okay. And there I was safe, but then I'm like, have you ever feel like dread for no reason? Just like dread, just despair, something imminent's going to happen. That feeling of something's going to happen. Not that anything's going to happen. It's just that feeling. So that started right here, what you're looking at on the screen. That right there, those 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences, and then rearranged on a daily lesson, and then salts and a long journey. And but you know what? I'm doing okay. And I'm doing okay during Men's Mental Health Month. Recognize it. Nothing against other societies or anything, but I don't know. I think it's like Women's Month, Men's Month, Gays Month, but now you're putting somebody a flag on top of a real serious issue. That this is the month that people actually, and the only reason these are months is to bring awareness. So we'll bring awareness to the rainbow flag. And I've got, I no issues. It's just priorities. I mean, do I as a man really need a month just because I'm a man? Or is this, let's celebrate men. I don't even think that exists. I'm sure it is. Father's Day is I saw this the other day. They rank the holidays. What's in Christmas, is there, and right under that's Mother's Day, and then goes down. Father's Day is the 44th most popular day of all of them. I mean, what's between number 2? I mean, there's Valentine's Day. Halloween, I think, is number 9 or something like that. And then there's all these other ones that, what are the other 30 holidays that are more popular than, Men's Mental Health and Men's Father's Day. So, interesting world. So, let's head on down. Thank you. Producer Barbie, would you please change your name from BSR to Producer Barbie? You said you could do it. But then again, I've asked Ronaldo to although I've got her name down pretty good, so I'm not as on our TikTok live. She's a moderator, and you do different social media, but on here I think you can actually change your name, or is that just the guess? because I do it like when I run tests, my name is Test, and it's unsubscribed. It's not private, but it's unlisted. All right, so let's head down here. Friend, you are the best. Oh, Matthew, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. This is a good day. I'm glad we're doing this. I'm kind of glad Elisabeth didn't show up. Well, she did not show up, but she had to reschedule. So Matthew, brah, thank you. You're the best. So Jennifer, how can we identify a break in visible change in our lives? And break invisible change in our lives. Yeah, so you've heard the expression of gut feeling. That's a real thing. I mean, that your body knows what's going on, and your brain decides what it's going to think about or react to or whatever, right? I mean, you've got these amazing mechanisms in this one body that are out there to protect you. They keep, I mean, literally all the drugs you need, except for rare occasions, there's nothing wrong with doctors and medicine. It's overused, but that's another story. But there's nothing, you don't walk away from it. Holistic healing is a good thing though. And the reason it is because of what Jennifer's saying here. How can we identify? Well, first of all, you can't break the invisible chains, in our lives. You can't break them unless you know about them. You identify that they happen. I'll give you an example. I think it was yesterday. We were talking, and we're, first of all, you can't do what you don't know, right? So if you don't know, you can't do it. But what's another layer there is unless you have that self-talk and know how to talk the self-talk, that's how you start breaking those chains, and if you're looking at yourself and listening to your body, something's not right. We live in a constant state of stress nowadays. We were talking about this subject yesterday, and it's so true. But if Jennifer, have you ever heard of laughter yoga? It's a thing to reset your mind state. It's not laughing while you're doing yoga. It's a physical, actual thing. And it's getting very popular. I think it's in 120 countries now, I heard. But anyway, those things reset your mindset to be able to explore upon yourself and look at that inner self, to be curious. One way to identify things in all things, especially about yourself, is, I think it's Walt Whitman's poem, or a line of this line is out of one of his poems. But there's this scene in this show that I really love. That's very popular. But anyway, he describes the scene, and he looks up on the fence, and painted on the fence is the words, "Be curious, not judgmental." So Jennifer, be curious. That's how identity reveals itself. Let's see here. Jeffrey Bowman. Okay. What's one daily practice you recommend for restoring sanity and peace? Talking to God is a good thing. Yeah. I don't recommend praying because for me, it doesn't feel authentic. But talk to God. Hey, God, I got this stuff going on today. Help me get through this. Give me some support, and feed. What should I be looking for? And you're having that conversation, and as that's going on, that spirituality, that exchange is happening because your mind is now being able to work on something. Sorry, I had a really bad itch right in the middle of my ear, and that was not going to be able to hold that one off. And I don't have anybody to go off the screen from here, so I have to do it. Trump showed who's boss. Okay, that's going to be, okay. So we're going to talk a little bit of politics too, but that's, as far as returning, having that self-evaluation, having professional people or friends that are associates, compadres, not just associates, not just people that you know, but dear, people that are close. You have somebody in your life that not just family, which is obviously a source, but you have people in your life, your bestie, your BFF, your male bro. You have that you need to be able to be authentic enough to have that discussion. And please, if you're that BFF or you're that wife or you're that friends without benefits kind of thing, if you're that, don't ever, if somebody's opening up to you, and let's say you're a spouse, don't ever use that against them to try and win an argument at some point, especially a male. If he's opening up to you, and otherwise he'll never do it again. Never. It's a fact. That's a cruelty, by the way. So Jack Davey, can wellness be sustained without community support? Yeah, it can. I wouldn't recommend it. From my experience, fuck no. You need support. You need to have, because when you're at that point, not only are you not thinking right, and we talked about early on about the vision. Everybody has a different life that they lead because they're looking at that life through their own vision, their own experiences. And when you're at a point where you need wellness to come back, you need it to come back to survive, because you're in a place, you're in a dark place, you're in a place. And then on top of that, on top of all that I just said, you don't even know if what you're saying is really real, or if you know what I mean? You start to get paranoid about the direction. We talk about somebody who sets a path out. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and you go down that path, and it's never going to be, and shouldn't be, a straight line, So that path, you have people that help light the way. So as that path turns, you're following that path the way you should. So yeah, community is definitely critically and critical in support. Leondis, Trump showed who's boss at the NATO summit, huh? Everyone there was kissing up to him and hoping he wouldn't cut off NATO funding. Yes, but here's the bigger thing. So let's pivot, step over to some politics and current events. I think everybody generally knows what he or she are referring to, because Trump is kicking some ass and taking name. As I like to say, he's hitting some dingers. He was doing it in the first time. He's smarter about it this time because he's being attacked, but he already knows about that. I'm thinking for the last 4 years, he's been really studying on this next thing because he believes in what he's doing, and he's doing it to save America, to, as they say, make America great again. He's also a salesman, so there's a lot of pitching going on, and it's pretty successful right now. However, political parties are what they are, and it's not done yet. But I think this is going to change. This is going to go into a lot of things that really help the great middle class, especially as we're getting into all these things we talk about. I think we're going to start realizing that picking good leaders is what I hear today. Elections have consequences. So now, specifically to NATO, if you know the history of things, first of all, we started NATO from an old decrepit one that was busted. This is NATO out of that. And NATO's crooked as fuck. They're very much not doing what, and what's funny is NATO is here in New York. I mean, it's literally supported and funded and everything else. And we've been being taken advantage of for a long time. And decisions that are deemed as critical are coming out with political swerves and biases to them, not about protecting the nations around the world's people. So I think he's getting kind of just tired of these whole political games because they've been going on forever. And it's weird you ask this now as we're starting to wind down, because at the very opening of the show, we talked about how governments have been learning how to get this stuff all fine-tuned for literally 3,000 years when the first government started. Two of them at the same time, actually, roughly the same time. So now we're at the end of the show, and we're seeing an exposure of a lot of things, and the world's leaders around the world. Yeah, we call it kissing his butt. Isn't that what you said? They were kissing up to him. Yeah. But I think there's deeper layers into that. Let's put a couple of colors in between some of those layers there. Let's kind of fill it out a little bit, because as I said, NATO's not just NATO. NATO's not as simple as it should be, and its mission isn't as just as it was designed to be. So, Trump's had a lot of problem with that, because with that group of nations and the way they do things, and this whole political game, it's all European kind of hem-ha, hurrah, hee-haw. It's kind of what it is. And it's not serving that purpose. It's serving some other world weird behind the curtain purpose. So Trump set the tone of all things that need to be fixed in his first administration. And then whatever happened there, and in retrospect, I'm glad whatever happened there happened, because then we made it through the next 4 years, which honestly, I was scared to death that was going to be the end. Socialism, and not because Trump wasn't there, but because you got to watch trends. You got to see how things move and the actions that the people of whatever's happening, what those actions are, not their words, not the words. Communication is only a little bit about the words. It's also about the actions, right? Well, okay, let me back off that a little bit. It's not just the words, it's the tonality, it's the physical, it's all, that's what that means. But then there's that next level of actual communication. Doing what you say, and doing, if you're paying attention to what, then move that aside. And if you're paying attention what actions of somebody is, you start to see that that's got to be changed, or that's exactly right. It's not the words that they say to describe what they're doing or whatever the situation is. It's what actions are they doing that show to us what is in their mind, what they are all about. So you add all that, and then you add on top of that the fact that around the world, leaders and governments of all nations are cheering what Trump's doing. Because believe it or not, some of it suck up, no doubt. But do we have peace in the Middle East right now? Yeah, the Democrats are saying, oh, we're not sure that it really worked, and it's only going to save a couple of whatever. Russia and everybody is fighting against everything going on, but it's all starting to get cleaned up. I'm really excited about the whole Doge thing. So yes, and CNN is softening up finally. The news medias are starting to get a little, because they're getting pushback. People are tired of the crap they've been going through. And so now they're pushing back. And people are now, you used to be shamed or ghosted, or in Hollywood, they call it blackballed. Zero? No. Anyway, there we were threatened into submission for a long time about things that made no sense and we knew weren't true. Couldn't say anything because then we'd be blackballed. I know there's the newer name, but whatever. I'm not. So all of that's going on. That's why Trump and the people at NATO, that's why they're coming back and they're saying, "Oh, Mr. Trump, you, yay, because they're running scared, just like a lot of politicians are, because they've been running behind the curtain for a long time doing dastardly deeds, not our deeds, like we hire them to do. So, yes, I agree with you, but it's much, much more than that. Ronaldo Arens. Just a suggestion. Ask how many people here have had mental breakdown. Yeah, I should have done that earlier. You know what? I'll do that next time because there's only probably you and Barbie left now. It looks like there's only 2 people on. As I was closing down, they were bailing out. You know how after an hour it kind of, unless it's a really strong topic, which today was just me having fun with you guys, which is a really strong topic, but more than you think, I would be one that had a mental break. Yeah, you and I have alluded back and forth to that. I'm not surprised by what you're saying there, Ronaldo. And probably next time I'm gonna keep this one up. Yeah, you're the last. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna wrap up here, but I'm gonna keep that up because bottom line, we are absolutely positive. And we've talked about it, but we could be talking literally in the double digit, 20-ish, 30. I know that people are struggling, like 60% of people are living with depression and anxiety and all these mental health issues. The actual break is a lesser number, I'm sure percentage, but is that, you know what? At some points, for me, had to have the break because otherwise I wouldn't have got better. And, you know, we wouldn't have Insights and Straight Talk with me, Rod Duff, right? Producer Barbie would be doing something different. I'm sure she does all the accounting stuff anyway. And you know, and I'd be out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.